Islam, everyone. I need a Quran so I can read the, I should know it by heart, but I depend on the book. Do you have one? Great. All right. You know, I keep saying I'm going to photocopy it, so I have it in my phone, and of course I haven't done that yet. Anybody have a Quran? No Quran carriers today. All right. Yes. All right. So, how are we going to do this projector thing? Oh, all right. All right. Islam, everyone. I do not have the Quran to read, chapter 26, so we're just going to get started. The last 3 weeks, is it enough? Oh. How many people have been listening to the last 3 week broadcast we've been doing on Wednesday? Okay, do y'all know we have a Wednesday broadcast of this class?
No.
And even if we're not here, we're broadcasting. Yeah. How many of you know we got the Tuesday broadcast? What?
And you guys are in one of them, right there?
Yeah. All right. So every Tuesday at the MHHS Eyes Wide Open Blog Talk Radio, we have Principles of Nationality in Action, and it starts at 9:30 p.m. We usually introduce the topic, discuss it, but it's an open forum. You can bring other things, questions, comments, concerns. We try to open it up for questions, comments, and concerns so that we have maybe about an hour and a half that answer questions before the feed goes down, or actually the broadcast goes down. The broadcast goes down. The internet feed, you can listen via internet until 11:30. Then the internet feed goes down, and then if you dial in, that continues until 12:30. If you can't get in by telephone, you can wait until after 12:30. Download the archives and listen to the last hour. That's Tuesday. Then Wednesday, we have Moorish Heritage and History School. This is broadcasting live all around the world. We have Moors listening over in Great Britain, France, South Africa, Bangladesh, Japan, the Netherlands. All of these are corporate constructs. They're not landmasses. The Philippines, Panama, Barbados, Trinidad. I believe Cujo was near the Trinidad Corporation. Islam, shout out to Cujo near the Trinidad. Oh, trustees, listen. Jamaica, Cuba, Cuba, Brazil, Venezuela, Mexico, and more we have yet to connect with. So this is worldwide. And then every third Tuesday, not this Thursday, every third Thursday, but not this Thursday. Because this is the third Thursday, we have Sons of Allah, but they're pushing Sons of Allah back to the fourth Thursday for the month of June. So you can catch Sons of Allah next Thursday. So we have Sons of Allah at 9 p.m. And then we have every third Sunday, Sisters Standing on Law. That begins at 1 o'clock, and we will be having Sisters Standing on Law this Sunday at 1 o'clock. It's geared towards all the sisters. So we're trying to get the sisters up to speed when it comes to law and family issues. So it's geared towards the sisters, but the sons can listen too. And we recently started another program that takes place on Wednesday when we're not here physically. First Wednesday and fourth Wednesday, we've been reading from a few books that actually give the historical missing information about who the slaves of America really are. So last Wednesday was the first Wednesday, and then before that was the fifth Wednesday because there was 5 Wednesdays in May, and then before that was the fourth Wednesday. So there's 3 weeks of reading from first the book Colonists for Sale. These are historical accounts with references to the congressional records of the various states. And then we switched this past Wednesday to White Cargo, the untold history of Europe's slaves in America. So, and these are books that you can get from Amazon.com. But you can go back and listen to last week. I think I did the name of the book and the author. So you can get that and start reading. We're not going to have a reading today, of course. And we're not going to have a reading next week, of course, because next week is the third Wednesday, and Abdullah will be here for etymology. But the following Wednesday, which is the fourth Wednesday, we'll be back reading from the book. So what we do is I try to get in 3 chapters, reading up until 9 o'clock or shortly thereafter, and then we discuss. Everybody can press 1 and participate in the discussion regarding what was read. So we had some real interesting discussion who have been doing, because I've been encouraging Moors to do the research on the municipal corporations that they are near, and some Moors have done it wonderfully. And so they brought some of that information to the discussion, and even had maps. They were explaining maps that's very good reference source, and one map was provided and it was posted up on the Moorish news.wordpress.com website, which also gives advertisements and nuggets of information regarding this class or information. And if there's going to be any handout, that's where you'll find it. So today we're going to be talking about a specific case law, and I'm trusting that you have heard of it. I believe it's one of the cases that's referenced in the 13 case law points. Murdoch, everybody ever heard of Murdoch versus Pennsylvania? You heard of it? Now, there was a post that was put up by a brother alleging that these case laws were of RVBey publications was bogus, as if these were our case laws or that we gave the synopsis of the case laws when we did it. Actually, if you read the case law, you'll see that the synopsis of the case law is most appropriate. So I felt that it would be great to read the case law. And collectively, we analyze it because it is very interesting. So we're going to wait for them to set up the projector. Are we setting up the projector? Can you use this one? Yes. So what am I going to do? Yeah, I guess I could. Oh, well, I'm going to give it up. Yes. All right, so while we're waiting to do that, guess what? I have the Quran to read, chapter 25 from, which I'm going to do. I was trying to bring copies of this so that you can all follow along and you can mark up your own copies and stuff, but we didn't have time. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm trusting that people brought pen and paper and will take notes. And if you don't, that's kind of distracting, very bright. If you didn't bring pen and paper, You can always go back to the archives and download the class and listen to it at your leisure and take notes. This is going to be uploaded to the moorishnews.wordpress.com. It'll be at the bottom of the syllabus for today's class. So you can grab it. Murdoch versus Pennsylvania. Am I in the way? Do I need to move? Where's it going to be, though? Oh, all right. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to read chapter 25 out of the Holy Quran, divinely prepared by Prophet Noble Jawali. It is the, It is the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nation, and if you are in agreement with it, affirm after I finish reading by saying Islam. Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother has given you stock. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers and sisters, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him out. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole his whole nation, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. What, I put y'all to sleep? Just that quick? I was eating some seaweed, and I am so hoping that I don't have green seaweed on my teeth. Do I have green seaweed? Sure. Oh, good. I felt like I had green seaweed on my teeth, and I'm sitting here chattering away, and I feel like all eyes is on the green seaweed that's stuck at my teeth. Good. That's what family's supposed to do. Got that seaweed up in your teeth, you need to take care of it. All right, so let me see if I can I want to get this article. I'm not reading it. I just want to get the case law because it is in there. And while we're waiting, here it is. Okay. Murdoch versus Pennsylvania. Here it is. The synopsis of the case law reads, no state shall convert a liberty into a privilege, license it, and attach a fee to it. How many people have heard that? I heard that a couple of years ago when I first got into this information, and I was like, oh, my God, that is the driving instrument? Yes, it is. So when I used to do my rebuttals, I used to make sure and put that along with some other stuff in there. Now, I never thought to go and pull the case law until much later to read it in its entirety to see if I've come to that same conclusion. But this person, in their efforts to disclaim our use of this synopsis of the case, provided the case law. I mean, it's in its entirety. So I'm like, oh, thank you very much. You know, your attempt at slander actually had a good purpose. I got a lot of case laws from it because he went to the trouble of finding them all. Isn't it amazing what people will go through, what people will do to discredit? Like, I'm glad he was on the ball to discredit the case law and provided us, found all of the case laws that we've been looking for. Thank you so much. I mean, you served as this purpose. So I'm gonna read this, but I'm gonna read some of it. As soon as it's about to go up on the wall. Look at that. So at the that better not go up on YouTube, I'm telling you right now, or Facebook. I want you to look at it first and tell me what is questionable to some people. Do you have the case law? Do you guys have the case law, or do Roz and David? Do y'all got the case? Did you get it from the Oh, good. No, I mean, because I told you I left it. This entire, yeah, all right. So what I want you to do is I want you to look at it when it's right and tell me just on sight what is questionable about it. It's because, I got mine. As soon as I found this article, I started reading it. I started, writing it up and everything, highlighting it. I had some questions of my own, but as you see, I didn't get too far when I realized, wait a minute, that is what the whole case is about. What is he talking about? So I didn't get too far, but what I would like to do, and for the people listening who are not here, if you Google Murdoch versus Pennsylvania 319 U.F.105 and in brackets it's a 1943 case law, you will find it on the Justice U.F. Supreme Court website. JusticeCase/federal/cases/federal/US//319//105//case.html. You want me to get out of the way? Oh, let me move the podium over. No, because we didn't get to the article. Isn't this from the... I don't think... Do you have your earpiece in? Because you need to stand next to me if you're going to say something. No. I don't think what you were saying. Oh, all right. All right. Do I need to be over there? Oh, all right. All right. So anyway, we're going to the case law. Now, the reason that I wanted everyone to become familiar with things like this is because a lot of people are going to throw stuff at you. And we all need to be able to take anything, analyze it, and determine its validity or lack thereof, right? So this is going to be, I do this all the time. Y'all need to do it all the time, too. All right? Because we need people who are going to be able to go and review these cases and affirm, yep, that's on point. But let me say this. How many people have had a case in a court, whether it's state or federal? Oh, well, am I supposed to be trying to find the case? Am I supposed to be trying to find the case in here and opening it up? I did it. Oh, you did? No? Okay. It doesn't say any. It should say murder. Just here, it should say the name of the case. U.S.
download all the things that you've not said and eat, correct?
Oh, so it's in here somewhere?
No. Go back to the folder. Oh, yeah, it's in your folder.
Is this E? Oh, this is the Anna E folder. All
Yes.
right. Now, let me see. Let me see what I might have called it. Oh, my God. Wait. That looks like it. Is that, what is this? No. That's this Pennsylvania map. No, that's not it.
The people played it and responded?
No. I think it's a PDF, but I don't see it.
There's a couple of PDFs.
Wait.
The A and B on top.
What are you doing? Oh, I don't think that one was a new now.
Go back.
Go back. Alrighty.
Okay. That's what you okay. All right. That's what you have.
All right. No, I don't see it because
I'll look for it.
It's supposed to be called. No, it's supposed to be called. It's supposed to be called Murdoch versus Pennsylvania, but it's probably under. I did too, but that's not it. That's Pennsylvania map.
Moor.
Pennsylvania map.
Mantis.
Not there.
Wow, God, that is kidding.
No, it's not.
Moor City of
No.
Zip?
What is that?
What?
That's the 2010, 2010 I said we did. Well, let me.
Wait a minute, it's June 1 or June 2, A and B, PDF.
Well, open, I don't think so, but open it anyway. I don't think so. Nah. That's another case we'll be reviewing. Not today. No, that's the other piece of the case we'll be reviewing. Nope. All right. So it's not there.
Can you pull it off the internet?
Yes.
No, I mean here.
What do you mean?
You can go on the internet and go straight to that. Yes.
I'll pull it. Yeah. All right. There you go. All right. So, I don't know what it's called.
Murdoch versus
Pennsylvania.
Murdoch versus.
Yeah.
Girl, you could just go right here and take it.
Yeah. But she's going to go get it off of her.
No, but this is the computer. I know you're not used to this, but.
No, it's not there.
No. We can go on the internet right here.
All right. No, she's going to go on the internet to her computer.
No, on my computer.
At home?
Poor thing. This is it. We're looking at it. What I'm trying to say to you, here's the mouse.
All right.
It's going on the computer right now.
All right.
We're going on we're on the internet. So type in what it's supposed to be.
I know which one it is. Let me do it. Don't I need the mouse? Okay. All right. Bear with me for a hot second. Yeah. Yeah. On my computer. It's not on this computer though. There's no hotspot on this computer. This doesn't have any internet. All right. No. You know what? I can just grab it. The quickest way to do this is, hold on a minute. Yeah, just hold. I have it here because I just downloaded it, so. Do you? I think you're going to need my earpiece.
All right. All right. How many of you have studied and realized that, there's a lot of guilt that people give you based on, that you're not in the temple, and our temple is the right temple and all that, and they're all infiltrated, right? Right? And there's more than one. There was more than one incorporated even during the time in which the prophet was here, but now there's like so many here. So this is proof. This is an example. Okay. It says here, this section let us know that they are revived from hers. Now, hers deals with religious freedom, but so does the Constitution, right? Yeah, hello, right? But you understand this is what I'm saying. It's more that's the term says. So it is not necessary to create a municipality. The prophet did not create a municipality. Municipalities need a strong state. Period. Period. We have a national domicile, not a municipal domicile. Y'all got that. But now here's another thing. You're going to have to get where you do your studies. It says here, this section, because of this Religious Corporation Act that they're putting up here, this section lets us know that they are revived from HERS, revised statutes, and Religious Corporation Act. Many attempt to say that the prophet set up the temple in a way that placed the temple outside. Listen to this, y'all. Listen carefully. Outside of the jurisdiction of the state of Illinois. Let's start right there. Why would a temple have to be in the jurisdiction of any state? This is a misunderstanding of study. Not only, what happened? Oh, my God. Let me just read this one time. Okay, not only does it say that, where was it? Oh, because, listen to this, and because the Grand Body files reports to the Secretary of State, even after the incorporation in 1928, this is evidence in an annual report. Like, really, so what? You show somebody your report that they report to the Secretary of the State of Illinois. Thus, it's recorded we are part, because of that, we are part of the United States via the Illinois Constitution. How much more proof do we need to know that we don't know what that is? You see it like that? You see it for yourself? You have to study everything. But there it is right there. There it is right there. So they think that means? Yeah, right. Great, supposed to study. Go ahead, sis. They put that out. They put that out like, hey, here we are, we're great, and this is what we do. It's like, wow. You did salvation a lot. Yeah, you answered it. That's correct. Which is really our problem, period. We just keep answering this stuff. Like, we keep saying, oh, the birth certificate has a Wall Street, but just national pleasure blood being is sitting right there. So, like, why do we even think that way? Because someone said this is what they do. Right. That, we don't think. And if you just get to thinking, it's real. And that's what we do all the time. Like, if I call you Fluffy, the dog, and you answer, you answer. Hey, if you answer to it, like that, we call you something and you answer to it, that means that I jurisdiction on you. Period. That's why it's so important to be yourself. First, you got to know you. And believe me, a birth certificate did not make you. It didn't make you. And it's void, and so many people going on that birth certificate rejection is great. You don't even have to go that far into it, but yeah. You don't even have to, because if it's an instrument that proves human trafficking because it's a certificate, then why would you authenticate that?
All
right. Are you ready now?
Yes, I am.
Got it together?
Yes.
Did you find it?
Yes.
Was it in your file?
No, it wasn't. It was on my computer, and I just transferred it to you.
Wonderful.
All righty. Here we go. There we go. All righty. So, this is the beginning of the case. Tell me something, just at a glance, what I'm going to read this. It says, Murdoch versus Pennsylvania, 319U.S.105. This is a 1943 case, right? So just at a glance, what is questionable about this? What? What? That's right. Y'all hear that? And you know, you shouldn't even be talking because you already got the answers. Did you guys hear what he said? Murdoch is birthing a corporation. Is that possible? Who said that? Please, just let me know. Don't be afraid to throw stuff out there. So we gotta discuss this. Well, they both look like they're grammatically correct. But you said, why? I'm going to just hear your rationale. Murdoch versus a corporation, yes. What? Yeah? No, but Murdoch is a flesh and blood human being. No. Pennsylvania is a corporation. I mean, from its inception to today, it's a corporation, right? So can the flesh and blood, see, this is showing something interesting. Something was going on in 1943 where a flesh and blood human being could come and name a corporation as a defendant. Because in law, that's not possible, right? Why is it not possible? Speak up. Nope. Why? That's right. That's correct. So, and tell somebody else. Tell me what else. The Constitution says what that makes this impossible. What? The Constitution, you don't even have to know it verbatim. You just got to comprehend the principles. What in the Constitution makes that impossible? What in the Constitution makes it this Murdoch versus Pennsylvania impossible? That's one, but there's one that supersedes that. No. Who can't represent themselves? But you got to identify who you're referring to. Why wouldn't Murdoch be able to present himself? Lawfully is all we speak about. Not how it's supposed to be is lawfully, and that's never supposed to change. But the Constitution states that you have a right to face your accuser. Can you face Pennsylvania? No, because it doesn't even exist. So that's what makes this, on its face, unlawful, right? So now let's look at this a little bit more. We're going to scroll down. Now this is argued 1943 to May 3rd, 1943. Now, it's a municipal ordinance. What's wrong with that? A municipal ordinance. What's wrong with this? Municipal court of parties. So Who's the municipal ordinance? Who's the municipal corporation? No. Pennsylvania is not a municipal corporation. Pennsylvania is a state. So this already, when we talk about identifying the parties, this is wrong, right? Because it opens up with a municipal ordinance, which by definition means there's got to be a municipal corporation in the mix, which means Murdoch needs to be suing who? The CEO of the municipal corporation, right? Not the state of Pennsylvania. How is the state of Pennsylvania caught up in municipal activity? That Murdoch is suing Pennsylvania. All right, so let's continue reading. A municipal ordinance which, as construed and applied, requires religious courtiers to pay a license. Somebody, please look this up. I did, but I didn't write it down. To pay a license tax as a condition to pursue of their activity, as a condition to the pursuit activity is invalid under the federal Constitution as a denial of freedom of speech, press, and religion. Did I say that right? Did I read that right? A municipal ordinance which, as construed and applied, requires religious courtiers, that's COLPORTEURS, to pay a license tax as a condition to the pursuit of their activity is invalid under the federal Constitution as a denial of speech, press, and religion. The mere fact that the religious literature is, quote, sold rather than donated does not transform the activities of the colporteur into a commercial enterprise. Upon the record in these cases, it cannot be said that Jehovah's Witnesses were engaged in a commercial rather than a religious venture. A state may not impose a charge for the enjoyment of a right granted by the federal Constitution. Oh my God, is that not the case law? Is that not the case law? A state cannot convert a right into what does it say? Into a privilege and charge a fee. Now this guy, he said the case wasn't even an issue of right to travel. Does it need to be? Does it need to be specifically a right to travel? Why? Why does this case also apply to the right to travel? All right, well, what is it specifically? What are they saying? Say that again? Yes, but according to this, why does this case also apply to the right to travel, even though the issue is the sale of religious material? That's right. That's right. They're trying to say, oh, you can't engage in your religious activity unless you get a license. And so it's the same. That's a violation of your federal right, of your constitutional religious right. All right? So that's why it applies. We didn't get too far, and that was already affirmed, right? In the original case. We're not even making this up. We're reading right from the case. The flat license test here involves restraints in advance the constitutional liberties of press and religion and inevitably tends to suppress their exercise, just like your right to travel. An ordinance is non-discriminatory in that it applies also to peddlers of wares and merchandise is immaterial. The liberties guaranteed by the First Amendment are in a preferred position. Now, technically, I'm sorry, I need to scroll down. I apologize. Somebody should have said something. Excuse me. All right, so I just read number 6. All right, so this is saying that the ordinance is not discriminatory in that it applies also to peddlers of wares and merchandise. It's immaterial. Now, let me just stop right here because this is saying that there's case law that says that you can take your energy and exchange it for compensation, and nobody can come and request some of it, right? There's case law that speaks to that. Now, usually people use that regarding all of these taxes that they're taking out of your paycheck. But this applies too, right? Because these people, well, it sort of applies. I'm going to tell you why it doesn't apply. But if they weren't affiliated with the whole Jehovah's Witness, this would apply their constitutional liberty in that they're engaging in the sale, exchanging their energy for merchandise. That's the constitutional protection. You can go right out on the street and sell anything you want to, and nobody can say, stop, you got to go get a permit. I know they do that around here all the time. But the only reason they do these things is because, why? Where is it? You got, where is it? These entities right here, municipal corporations, who have been charged by your permission to inform you, i.e., supposedly educate you, and they let huge gaps in your information, right? Huge gaps in your information that would enable you to curtail their activity because it's unconstitutional. They're not government. They're private foreign corporations on American soil. So they get away with this because the vast majority of people are not informed. Is that? Well, I mean, no, because see, I know a lot of people, they throw that on the table and they incriminate themselves. Because unless you show me verifiable documentation that says I am some type of 14th Amendment citizen, I'm not, and I'm not putting that on the table. Now, I'm going to tell you why I'm not putting it on the table, because if you go to the Black Law 4th Edition Dictionary, it says the word person, as used in the 14th Amendment, applies to corporations. But, but they're not really using it. There is an assumption that they're using it. Because what most people do is they walk in the door saying, hey, I'm not a 14th Amendment citizen. Well, where is it documented that somebody said you was? Right. Yeah, I mean, you can't, and then they want to turn around and try and sue. Oh, you violated my rights. You tried to say I was a 14th Amendment citizen. Well, let's read the transcript. Who said that they was a 14th Amendment citizen? Was it the employee of the municipal corporation, or was it you? I ain't say nothing. All right? So we throw ourselves under the bus because we try to go in there proactive. There's nothing wrong with going in proactive, but just don't put, don't violate your Fifth Amendment rights. Don't be saying stuff that may incriminate you and be wrong, unsubstantiated. But by your admission, it sounds like you just substantiated that you're a 14th Amendment citizen. How can you be? Right? So now, where was I? Thank you. Let me make sure that the ordinance, we read that. Since the privilege in question is guaranteed by the federal Constitution and exists independently of state authority, That's where you get the state cannot. They cannot convert your liberty. But did the state do that? According to this, did the state do that? What did they say? It said a municipal ordinance. So really, this is a plaintiff and error situation because the state is a party to something that it didn't do. It was a municipal corporation, right? So anyway, where am I? And exists independent. The inquiry as to whether the state has given something for which it can ask a return is irrelevant. A community may not suppress or the state tax the dissemination of views because they are unpopular, annoying, or distasteful. That's interesting. Tell me to go down now. Scroll down. Okay, number 9, the assumption that the ordinance has been construed to apply only to solicitation from house to house cannot sustain it, since it is not narrowly drawn to prevent or control abuses or evil arising from that particular type of activity. Right? So now we get to the certiorari. I have to always say that slowly. All right. To review affirmances of orders in 8 cases, refusing to allow appeals from judgments and sentences for violation of a municipal ordinance. Already that's a constitutional violation, right? Because how can a municipal ordinance even apply to people? Like for example, if there's a municipal ordinance, the question that needs to be asked is who does it apply to and how? Don't make the assumption that, oh, yeah, it applies to me. Because most of these municipal corporations, they try to say, now we got where it's happening, the city of Jeanette. All right? Now, they're making an assumption, and we're going to see that in a minute, that the city of Jeanette jurisdiction over these people because it's happening in the city of Jeanette. But what is the city of Jeanette? Exactly. So can anybody be in a corporation? Not unless you're a piece of paper. So, did you have a question? Municipal? A municipal corporation actually is defined as a venue. So that's not an American, it can't possibly be an American government entity, agency, or anything. And if you do the research, as we did, how many people was here when we reviewed the Charter of New York City? We reviewed the Charter of New York City, that was 1784, I believe, and the charter comes from Charles II of Great Britain. So what can New York City be? Can it be landmass? Nope. It's a charter. When you read the charter, you see that they wrote everything in the charter to keep the employees of the municipal corporation in check. So, are y'all employees of the municipal corporation? But they're speaking and acting as though you are. I'm thinking if I'm an employee of a municipal corporation, I should be receiving a paycheck. I've never received a paycheck. Never. No benefits, nothing. What's the benefits? What's the employment benefits? We're not talking about constitutional benefits because you couldn't possibly give me anything because you're not indigenous to this landmass. And I am not English or British because those are corporations, and those are just more brands, just like Negro, Color, Black, more brands. Indian. All right, so you were saying something? Well, it's not just that. See, because I think if you look back at a lot of information or a lot of things that had transpired with Moor historically go into these tribunals and they say things like, oh, that's not me. Now, why are you saying it? Because it's in all caps. Why? What does it being in all caps have to do with that being you or not being you? See, sometimes I think we ask the wrong questions and we take the wrong position, which is why, we've made some strides, but we haven't really made a big dent, because we're not asking the right questions, and we got to think outside of what we are comfortable with. For example, the city of Jeanette is alleging to have a claim over the people. The question we need to ask is, can you produce verifiable documentation of just how you can tell me what I can and cannot do? I need to see it in writing. And now let me tell you what a lot of Moors are doing. They coming in, hey, here's the birth certificate right here. Here it is. This is how you got jurisdiction over me. And they're saying, okay, lock them up. Now, if I ask for the evidence, why am I showing up with the evidence? That's like this whole mortgage fraud. The whole point of asking for the mortgage note is because it doesn't exist unless you show up with your copy. Right? Why? You showing up with your copy confirms you know something about this because you got a copy. You didn't read it? You must be incompetent. You can't take care of this anyway. Lock them up. Yes. Look, a copy of a signature is not a signature. That's called, what is that called? No. That's called, which one you want? That's called, I'll take this one. I'm sure that's probably easy. That's called, what is it? Some forgery. That's forgery. That's forgery. And you can say that's forgery all day long because it's a copy. Unless it's the original, it's forgery. You know why it's forgery? Because they can't hold you accountable to it either. Because if that's a copy and he got the original, right? You get paid because you got the copy, and then 3 days later you show up with the original. Problem. In law, and I can tell you this because I experienced this, the universe works, and if we just pay attention, a lot will be unveiled to us. See, one of my family members was encouraged to do a trust. Now I'm listening, and this whole thing is not making any sense. All right? They say, he needs to put his house in the trust because if the house is in the trust, then they can't get it. But when we sat down with the attorney, he said, the house is not going to be protected unless it's been sitting in the trust for 5 years, and even then it's still not protected. And I'm thinking, well, why are we even spending, $2,500 to get this trust if it's not going to do jack? And at the end of the day, this is what I got. This is all I got. If any of this family member passes away, whatever is in the trust is not made public. That's all I got from the trust. Like the amount and who it's going to is not going to be disclosed publicly. Well, that doesn't mean anything to me. To me, that's not a reason for me to go and implement a trust. Plus, the trust is being established under the policies and procedures of the United States of America in conjunction with the municipal corporation who already got their hands in the trust before the trust is even written. So I'm laughing because I wasn't supposed to be at this meeting. But I got a call the night before asking if I would sit in. I don't know why, but I sat in, and I just listened to this exchange, and I'm not trying to bump the brothers, but I was the only female, and I had 4 sons, 3 Asiatic, my family, and 1 modern European, and they're standing there, typical, let's trust it. Oh, yeah, let's trust it. I'm going to get a can do that. And they're pontificating, and I'm sitting here, this is some bullshit. Why is it that I am the only one who sees that this is some bullshit? I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take it, so I said to the attorney, now you got to know that if there's an attorney in the mix, he's an employee for the municipal corporation. That's it. Ain't the court. He's not an employee for the state. He's an employee for the municipal corporation. So I couldn't take it anymore, and I said, excuse me, but why is it that I have to have somebody who I don't even know and isn't even a family member at the probate office of the municipal corporation involved in my private and confidential family affairs? That sounds very unconstitutional to me. He looked at me like one of those, you know, and my male family members, right over their head, went right over their head. But when we got out, my youngest family member said, you know, that was a very good question you asked. He didn't comprehend what I said, and I didn't enlighten him because he's one of those lost generations. And I'm not going to be wasting my time because he's so saturated with the modern European mentality that I would just be wasting my energy. And I don't have energy to waste. But it was interesting because it brought me some information. One of the information that I'm going to bring back here, as it relates to this document with the copy of the signature, this attorney stressed you need to get a waterproof, fireproof safe and lock your originals in there. If you lose your originals, you've lost your claim. Talk to me about a paper with a copy of your signature. I'm like, please, come on. Kind of law you practicing? But they count on us not knowing. Like, how many people ever had an issue with a credit card company? Never? Nobody? What? Capital One, Midland Funding, they out there just looking like hawks, looking for somebody who don't know how to cover their behind, just looking. You're going to tell me nobody don't know nobody who had something with Capital One and Midland Funding? They're like two peas in the same pod, but they act like they're not affiliated. You have a Capital One debt that they write off. A couple years later, Midland Funding is going to come knocking on your door trying to collect. A debt collection company. But what's interesting is they show up. Now, first of all, most people don't know Midland Funding got sued because in every credit card contract is provisions to pay off the debt using the insurance that's in every credit card contract. And somebody found it and been suing the crap out of Midland Funding. But most people don't know that. So Midland Funding will continue to come knocking on your door. But also, what they do is they show up never with the original contract. Never. Sometimes they don't even show up with a copy of the contract. They show up with a screen print of their computer, which is their computer, not even the original loan creditor. And then they will go in there, and what's sad is that people come in there, they don't know nothing, they walk through the door, how much I can put on it today. The minute you put something on it, you just admitted that you owe somebody something, and they will come back repeatedly to collect. Repeatedly. So what I learned about from that whole experience is, if you don't have the original contract with the wet ink signature, don't even talk to me. Guess what? That applies across the board. How many people ask for, like with the driving instrument? Who do you get the driving instrument from? DMV. Is DMV ever in the municipal tribunal? No. So when you start asking who's here that has the claim, then nobody wants to say nothing. But most people don't even answer that question. They don't answer that question. Most people do not do the historical research on the municipal corporation that's making a demand of income. How many people ever was traveling and the registration on your automobile expires either intentionally or unintentionally? Right? And they give you a ticket. They may or may not tow your private property. Nowadays, they ain't trying to tow too much because everybody's getting sued. And if you demonstrate verbally that you might be, sane enough to sue them, they'll be like, I don't know, if we want to tow this automobile here, here's just a demand for income, and I'll see you later. By the way, you can just send the money in. You don't have to, right? So they immediately go to, you just check here and send the money in. They don't even be talking about, oh, not guilty, and we'll have a sit-down and discussion about it. They don't even get into that, right? So this mouse is crazy. But I lost my train of thought. All right. So if they come along and want to take your automobile, which is really your private property, you call it private property, they really start acting up because they're getting sued. There are municipal corporations that are up for sale right now. So we got to be clear. But I was going someplace. Where was I going? They might not take the computer, but they'll give you. Yeah, but okay, it'll come to me. But anyway, they will give you a demand. Oh, I remember. So now, if you happen to, because sometimes they won't say, hey, mail in the income, right? Because it's a demand for income, whether you want to call it that or not. It's a demand for income. Do you know why it's a demand for income? No, it's a demand for income. No, but why is it a demand for income? Some people they say what do they call it? What do they call the ticket when you pay the ticket? A fine. Yeah, fine. See, it's a fine. No, it's a demand for income. You know why it's a demand for income? Because did nobody really do no work and sweat? They're getting the income minus sweat. The true definition, right, exactly. The definition of income the definition of income actually relates to corporations only. Everybody is giving up income to taxes and whatnot, but the definition of income is any kind of money, loosely used, that you receive minus any sweat equity. That's the definition of income. So if you work, if you clean houses or cars, or you wash cars, or you pull apart computers and put them together, is that income that you're getting? Nope. What is that called? Compensation for labor. So now when they start talking, we're going to tax you, because of your work. Oh, so you're taxing my energy? That's unconstitutional. You see, but if you look at a lot of people's case law, when they're talking about the Internal Revenue Service Corporation, which, by the way, is not an agency of the federal government, if you look at a lot of the cases that have been brought regarding the Internal Revenue Service Corporation, and you read it, you will find that their position every single time was wrong. Every single time. They want to, oh, well, your Title 26 and Title 27 says this, that, and the other. Well, guess what? Title 26 and 27 isn't even positive law. So why am I talking about it? It says it right in their statute. It says these are positive law. And then it says these are not. And Title 26 and 27 is right down there under not positive law. It's not law, it's policy. That's right. All taxes is supposed to be, this is why we have to study the history of this land, because taxes is import, export, and tariff. Well, what are you importing and exporting? What are you doing? I was someplace, I think I was someplace with Raj, and they had a sign up that said tariff. I didn't have my phone to take a picture of it, but it said tariff. Tariff is for shit. What? Really? Oh. Wow. You pulled your gun out. Yes, you see it? Oh my God. The tariff all is a tax, and it came about through importation initially, and then Great Britain imposed it as a way of putting their foot on the neck of the slave, i.e. the indentured servant, by then charging them an exportation tax, and they were then exporting to Great Britain. How double-crossing is that? Well, black codes, believe it or not, everybody want to claim the black code just because your skin is dark melanated. The black code ain't for us. I know you know this, but the black code was never for us. The black code was for them. But that is the huge elephant that is missing in every one of these institutions, so-called educational system. They don't never tell you that the teacher that's standing up there talking about slavery is talking about themselves and their lineal descendants. It's coming out now because we found the books and we reading so everybody can know. How about that, Islam? That's right. Hold on now. Now, let me just say this. How many people read in the Constitution as well as the Articles of Confederation that ingress and regress is prohibited? And how many people know what ingress and regress is? Every time you try to travel in this area, you got private corporations saying, stop, I need some income. Stop, I need some income. And the income ain't even cheap. 15, 18 notes, sometimes 19 notes. That is a violation of the Constitution. How many people are suing them? Nobody. That's an ingress and regress. Ain't nobody suing them. On your ticket that you get, what does it say? On the ticket. How many people even ask for a receipt? All right, see? And that's why they get you. Because in order for you to sue them for something that is unconstitutional, you must have evidence. How many people go through those toll booths and get a ticket and get a receipt? It's a demand for income. It don't matter because, you know, you can take that home and you can photocopy it. Really what you're supposed to be. See, our people don't know about basic accounting. Basic, what, write off what? Write off what? Who you writing it off to? Okay, hold on. You never needed to complete an income tax return unless you're a corporation. So what you writing off? Really, these tolls was put in place for the corporation. It is their privilege to travel on the roadways. Your corporations that are listed, verified with documentation, they ain't even trying to hide it. You look on the building, it says blah, 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 corporation. Right? And now I'm going to tell you what Moor is doing now because they don't study. They going and starting LLC. Oh, yeah, I got an LLC. I got an LLC. You just put yourself under the jurisdiction of statutes, ordinances, and codes because LLC means Limited Liability Corporation. Yep. It's a setup. It's you go ahead. You can do a trust, but you got to set up an LLC. They're looking to see if you're taking the bait, and you taking the bait. How you gonna put something ancient under a modern process that is of the United States of America? And then talk about I'm a Moor. Lots of people are doing stuff. You first come in and you get your name correction and proclamation. Like I had 2 conversations with people recently, and they're telling me I need my name correction and proclamation so I can go get a passport. And I need the original document. The minute you go and get a passport, you wash the name correction and proclamation. What do I mean by wash? You nullify it. It's void because the passport application is an affidavit. And when you go and fill it out, you go stand up in front of the United States Postal Corporation employee who authorized them to administer oath. They're not even an agency of the federal government. Stand in front of them and you take an oath. That's an affidavit. You go and you give them, so here's my name, correction, and proclamation. It's first, right? Then here's my passport application. They take it, put this in the trash. They ain't studying. Put that in the trash. Now, here's the thing. Everybody is on these modern Europeans. You need to thank these modern Europeans every freaking day because they are doing their job and they're doing it well because this vast estate can't be turned over to people who are incompetent. And if you falling for that, you ain't ready for this. You know what? I'm not surprised. See, because everything is about affidavit. Whenever you know, people are, I need somebody to, I need somebody to validate my documents. Did you put your autograph on there and ready? Yes, it's validated. Now they want to read something and this and that and all that. You don't even need that. You don't need that. Did you write the writ? Yes. Do you understand what you wrote? Yes. Then your autograph is validation of that document. Let me tell you how crazy people are. Because everybody knows commerce and don't know commerce, right? But in commerce, if you read the commercial language, it says the signature brings every negotiable instrument to life. So now if I autograph something, why I got to go to her, him, or why do I got to go to employees of the municipal corporation and have them validate my paper? When we doing commerce, right? Everybody doing commerce. Nah, we doing law. You might be doing commerce, but we doing law. And the law says, if I put my autograph on there, that's gold. That's it. It's a wrap. It's done. But you don't need a passport. You know what? A couple years ago, I was at the post office and I saw this sister go in there. She had a toddler, newly walking, couldn't hardly stand good. She put the baby on the counter of the post at the post office, and then the postal clerk took out a tape measure and was doing that. I was like, what is that? They're measuring the baby from foot to head. I was like, what is that? And then I heard the mother say she's applying for a passport for the baby. I don't know. All right, now here's the thing. I said the application is right at the post office. Has anybody gone and read the passport application? Did anybody? Y'all need to go to the post office and grab a passport application because we brought it here ready to rip it apart right on the front and in the little box. It tells you who it applies to, and it doesn't apply to the people. It says it is a little box right there, and it tells you this is who this applies to pursuant to this, and this, and when you read it, it doesn't apply to people. Passport. If anybody ever read the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, did you read that the ships needed a pass in order to pass the port? Oh, well, see, that's just like the ticket. Because I'm never going to have a chance to face my children. And see, there's stuff that you can do just to nip that right in the bud that I won't say over the air. But let's finish reading this case. Oh, I'm sorry, sister. Okay, do you have a trade? You can do an affidavit. You don't have to do, because when people say, oh, you got to do a trademark, they want you to go to the state and fill out their papers, and basically what you're doing is you're turning your enterprise, your sole proprietorship venture, over to the state. Can I just take your Yes. Copyright. It's a common law copyright. Registered mail. That's the common law copyright. All these people getting all, come on out the rafters with all of this. Come down to earth. All of this extra stuff that's not necessary, and it's too complicated. If it's complicated, it's probably not lawful. Really, because if my 7-year-old can get it, just on basic common sense, then it don't have to be complicated. Everybody, I'm going to get a trust because I got this land, and I'm going to put the land in the trust. Honey, let's talk bloodline. Let's talk bloodline. Lineal descendant of the Aboriginal indigenous people of this land that is commonly called America, indigenously Maghreb Alaska, which translates to Morocco, the farthest west. What you got? Oh, you bringing papers? See, if you bring papers, what you're telling me is that you've just been granted the use. But for me, it's inheritance. I can tell you take all your crap off this land and go back to wherever you came from. Do I need to do that? No. There's some cool modern Europeans that can stay here, but there's just a little bit of modern Europeans that got to go because they're messing it up for everybody. Is that?
It's always for.
Well, let me just say again to you, modern Europeans are out here doing their job. Are you prepared? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, a lot of sons, they falling on their face because they walking in talking about I'm the heir and this is my land. Modern Europeans know who the heir is. They know that this is inheritance, and they know if she don't show up, ain't jack going down. And if she show up and don't know, ain't jack going down. They know. Have you noticed that the modern Europeans who know who the heir is trying to hook up with all the heirs? Meanwhile, the Asiatic sons is trying to hook up with all the broke modern European daughters? What's wrong with that picture? I'm just saying. Am I saying something that's wrong? You look at all of these Asiatic so-called successful brothers, who they hooking up with? The broke modern European sister. Meanwhile, modern European son hooking up with the heir. But guess what? That's always the way it has been. If you go back into the history, what was we reading? In our last reading, the guy had to have been a modern European. Yes, he was. Because he married an heir. She must have been maybe a third, fourth daughter with a little bit of money. He married her, and he wanted to get in on the Virginia company. So he sold all her stuff, even the clothes on her back, so that he can get in on the Virginia company, because she was an heir. She had no money. He was broke. Well, I'm just saying, that was a historical record. That wasn't even any making up anything. That was right in the reading. Go back last week and the week before and the week before and listen. I gave you a book. I gave you the author. I gave you the reference. It's all there. We, as a people, need to wake up. Got to, keep it in the family. Son, keep it in the family. Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. But you got to keep it on bloodline because they can't touch you if you keep it on bloodline. And please don't be referencing your dad because he's the name, but he's not the bloodline. And that's one of the things that they did. So as soon as you hook up with a sister, you marry her, get rid of your name, take on his. Now, if you're trying to find her family, you can't because exactly, I just experienced that. I don't even know how I'm going to find my great-great-grandmother because my mother, my grandmother, and my great-grandmother, their maiden name is their father's name. So I don't even know how to find them. That is, now it doesn't change the fact that you're still lineal descendants because it ain't based on name. That's why we need to check out the name. That name stuff, get rid of it. Because your lineal descent line is not based on the name. It's based on the blood. But what they try to trick you with is saying, oh, what's your daddy's name? You've got to be able to say, my daddy, I love him, but he's not relevant. This is my mother, and this is the bloodline. And this is my grandmother, and this is my great-grandmother. It ain't even about the name. It's about the blood. But they got everybody chasing down the name. As soon as you hook up with a sister, oh, you got to give up your name and take mine. Why? That's like saying, oh, I'm English, came over from Great Britain. I'm going to give up my English nationality and take on this nationality of Moor. Not possible. Just not possible. It doesn't change your lineal descent line. It just muddies it up so that if you want to go back, you have a challenge finding things, finding out who you are. Isn't that what the problem with modern Europeans is today? They gave up their nationality of English, and now they run around here talking about I'm American. But go over to Constantine or Byzantine, which they call Middle East today, and talk about you American, and you're clearly modern European. They will let you know real quick. Don't go down to South America now. Modern Europeans talk about you American because you might disappear. We'll never see you again. I'm just saying, I mean, Paul Mooney talks about it. I had to think about it for a minute. He was like, oh, he's right. Then you start watching City Confidential. Oh, she took a trip to Aruba and got off the bus and we've never seen her again. Over and over and over again. Why? Because they down there talking, we Americans. What? No. No, you're the original slave. And you know where they find some of them? It's like as soon as they get a lead, they're gone. You know where they find them? In brothels, where they began. That's why the whole Daughters of American Revolution came into being, because they were sick and tired of being used for sex. But guess what? It's still going on. It's still going on. All these modern Europeans passing for Asiatics. And they're in key positions. Halle Berry, Alicia Keys, Mariah Carey. Everybody be like, oh, she's European. But then they want to claim Alicia Keys and Halle Berry. Oh, that's a sister. No, that's a modern European. And look how privileged she is. And then her job is to get in with an Asiatic son so that he will claim her children and transfer the estate to modern Europeans that are passing for Asiatic. Who ever thought that modern Europeans would be passing? It was a time when Asiatics were trying to pass for modern Europeans. Now we're in a new day. Modern Europeans are trying to pass for Asiatic, and then they're so uninformed too. They talk about, I have no problem being black. Yep, yes you are. Michael Jackson's daughter. I am black. Yes, you are. And then it's letting you know black ain't got nothing to do with complexion, because she is lily pale as they come. So they're telling, probably said, I'm going to make them tell the truth. They're telling it. Islam? Well, no, it's not, because if you go to your mother and ask her, she's going to tell you that it's her son. And then if you go to your grandmother and ask her, she's going to give you her father's name. And if you go to your great-grandmother and ask her her maiden name, she's going to give you her father's name. It doesn't matter. Well, see, here's the other thing about modern Europeans, Caucasian, whatever you want to call them. They never had names. So what are we talking about? Right. It's still our appellation. Like, how many people know that Washington is a derivative? Washington is a derivative of Washita, and Tunica, Turner, is a derivative of Tunica. So if you're using Washita or Washington, it's still the same family. Like, we really need to go back and look up some of those surnames, and some of those surnames wasn't even referencing a family. It was referencing a trade. Like, my mother's maiden name is Miller. Do you know what a mill is? You don't know what a mill is? Yeah, well, Miller runs the mill. The mill could be grain, could be sugarcane, could be, what's some other mill stuff that's mill? Grain, sugarcane, liquor. Well, liquor would be distillery. But it starts with grain, or it used to. But what I'm saying is, we need to investigate. A lot of people are just rushing to give themselves these outlandish appellations, which really don't even embody them. And we have got to comprehend. This is a science. This is a science. So you calling yourself master as a first appellation, it's going to be calling this energy of master to you. Now, if you ain't a master, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. You're going to get tested. Why put yourself in that situation? Many, this is my position when it comes to appellations. Your appellation ought to be based on your life purpose. Most of us haven't even looked at what have we been doing consistently all our lives. Because you've been doing it all your lives. It ain't just sneak up on you today. You've been doing it all your life. But a lot of people, they want the glamour of a Moor, but they don't want the work of a Moor. Oh, I'm a Moor. I'm an Ali. No, you're not, because if you're an Ali, then a municipal employee wouldn't be stepping to you on the street. You would not have manifested that. Why would you? Right? Because an Ali knows how to manifest his world. That's why he's an Ali. Right? Am I right? So you don't want to be talking about, oh, I'm an Ali, because I'm going to tell you right now, those modern European municipal employees, they're going to be like, oh, this one he's claiming to be a master. Let's mess with him today. Because they know. Stop thinking that these modern Europeans don't know the science when they know it better than a lot of us. They know it. So we need to stop tripping. Stop tripping and acting like, oh, just because you found out yesterday, they did too. So let's get back to the cakewalk. The city of Jeanette. Okay, wait a minute. Mr. Justice Douglas delivered the opinion of the court. The city of Jeanette, Pennsylvania has an ordinance some 50 years old which provides in part that all persons canvassing for or soliciting within said borough. Okay, now, y'all probably didn't listen to our Tuesday broadcast maybe a year or two ago, but we researched the word borough. A lot of boroughs up in this area, right? Do you know that a borough is a corporation, and the name of the family that owns the borough is called Burgess? The title. Oh, let me. It's in the document. Do you see it? Burgess. That's it. That's a British title. Borough, order for goods, paintings, pictures, wares, or merchandise of any kind, or persons delivering such articles under orders so obtained or solicited, shall be required to procure from the Burgess a license to transact said business, and shall pay to the treasurer of said borough, therefore, the following sum according to the time for which said license shall be granted. So what is that telling you? The license is for the use of the land, but not the land. Because remember, Burgess is a British title. Is this Britain? So even the Burgess only has a charter to use this land, and what they then do is charge individuals to use what they can use. You see? Great Britain. Well, see, we entered into a treaty with Great Britain, and it's through that treaty that you get all of these city of Jeanette, Pennsylvania, New York State, New York City, the boroughs of Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan. All of these, they have the privilege of use of land through the original treaty between Morocco and Great Britain. But they don't own nothing. They only have the use. That's like you have an apartment you rented from me, and I sublet it to her, and she sublet it to him, and he sublet it to him. Everybody getting paid, right? But ain't nobody got nothing. Well, that would be Charles II, because he granted through charter, patent, or now modernly known. Well, it doesn't matter because the grants were written perpetual. So the reason why they incorporated the reason that they incorporate a lot of these corporations is so that they will be here forever. So you will have the same family running the company/corporation, and they do. Because these companies/corporations were established for modern Europeans, and who is still running them to this day? Now, we get all caught up because they got different surnames, but it's the same family. There's one human family, but there's two species of that human family, just like there's one dog, but you got many species of dogs, right? Or breeds of dogs. You got one animal cat, but you got many species of cats. It doesn't, but I'm going to tell you, I've never seen a bobcat mate with, what? A leopard. I've never seen a black panther mate with a bobcat, right? No, we're doing it because we're crazy. We've been mentally conditioned to believe, oh, they're humans too. No, they are human, but they're not the same species, which means they're not the same family. And then they start indoctrinating us to think that, oh, if me and him are first cousins and I marry him, oh, that's incest. No, that's how we did it. We didn't go outside of the family. And then what's crazy is they telling you today, oh, that's incest, right? But one of their presidents was married to his first cousin, right? Franklin D. Roosevelt, Eleanor is his first cousin. It wasn't a problem, was it? It wasn't a problem. But when you do it, try to keep it all in the same family, look at you got Charles and Diana, first cousin, right? It ain't a problem. Had a big old wedding. Everybody was out there cheering, right? Wasn't a problem. So if you do it, it's a problem. You know why? Because they want you to stray outside of the family because that's the only way they can get in. Ain't nobody getting there in the so-called royal family. You see any Asiatic people get up in there? No. They marrying their first and second cousins, and they keeping it in the family. Ain't nobody having a tizzy. But once you do, you can't do that. So that's keeping it in the family because we ain't getting ready. We ain't about to mess with you. Next thing you know, we transferring all that to your family. And that's how they got up in that seat, too. Because if you look at the history of Elizabeth was the Albion. Her mother was Anne Boleyn. Her mother was a modern European. They tell you this. That's why they called Elizabeth a bastard. Because bastard does not mean, oh, we don't know who your daddy is. Bastard means you're ineligible to inherit. That's why she died a so-called virgin queen. Because no noble Moorish family was going to link their first son next in line for the throne with a bastard. Because that's transfer of the family. That's why when they suggested, you got to believe the history. Elizabeth's mother was trying to get Henry to, broker a betrothal between Elizabeth and the next king of France when they were toddlers. And the king of France looked at him and was like, you can't have my firstborn, but you can have my fourth or my fifth. Because the fourth and the fifth ain't ever going to be king. But you can't have first. No, we ain't mixing our blood like that. It's right there in the history. It's right in our faces. That's all we got to do is do the research. This thing is deep. And these people, they know the science. That's why they do the things they do. We up in these institutions they call hospitals, we never used to be up in there. And you know what? Our babies was popping out running down the street. Now they're popping out missing a half of a foot. Why? Because we taking these prenatal vitamins. What's in it? What's in it? Because I noticed ever since people started taking this prenatal vitamins, they having babies with birth problems, holes in the heart, they living, short term. What's going on? What's happening? We got to go back. We got to start looking back and incorporating stuff that was done not even that long ago, 20, 30, 40 years ago. So let's get back to this, because I want to get to this point before we have to end. Let me see. Where was I? Okay, where was I? All right. Which said license shall be granted. All right, next page. All righty. All right, for 1 day, $1.50. For 1 week, $7. For 2 weeks, $12. For 3 weeks, $20. Provided that the provisions of this ordinance shall not apply to persons selling by sample to manufacturers or licensed merchants or dealers doing business in said borough of Jeanette. Now, what lets you know who this applies to? Persons. In every statute, ordinance, or code, always identify who the persons are. And 9 times out of 10, I've never seen it say anything other than corporation, association, trust. I've seen a few that's now saying natural person. You know why? I'm about to tell you. I want to read this, man, because this is interesting. Petitioners are Jehovah's Witnesses. They went about from door to door in the city of Jeanette, distributing literature and soliciting people to purchase certain religious books and pamphlets, all published by the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. Now, let me just say something here. Now, if there is a license that must be had, who would be obligated to get it? Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. But since it is not Watchtower, which would be appropriate, versus Pennsylvania, says to me that this religious organization is funky. They throwing their people under the bus because they're saying, no, y'all got to go get the license. No, I'm not the Watchtower. I'm selling your stuff. You got to get the license, and I ought to be blanketed under it, just like the insurance. Guess what else that ought to be applying to? How many people work for jobs where you use the company automobile? And then they say, oh, yeah, you got to have a license in order to navigate or drive. We don't know if you're driving or just simply using it to get from client to client, but you ain't transporting clients, which means you don't need a license, because really a license is only for chauffeur. Exactly. Right. Well, why not? Why not? Because you the one showing up with the license as though that's your company car. It's fraud. It's a setup. But it can only happen as long as the people are asleep. Because here's the thing. The same company car, right? Who has the insurance, you or them? Oh, really? So if they got the insurance, they should also have the license, right? So they passing their obligation on to the employee. How many people is writing that license off every year? I'm not saying you should be doing taxes now. I'm just saying really what you ought to be doing is you should be challenging that employer. Why I got to get the license? It's your company. I don't even get a cut. I don't get no dividends, right? I got to put down my sweat. I'm getting compensated for my sweat. But I got to go get a license, and I don't even get a piece of the corporate profit? What in the heck is wrong with that picture? But why is it happening? Because we acquiesce. We don't even ask questions. We don't even think, wow, that don't even make sense. Something is wrong with that. I may not get it right now, but it's coming. We don't think. There's a prophet that can just get you to thinking. You free yourself. All right, so. Okay, where did I stop? Where? Oh, all right. Okay. Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. The price of the book was 25 cents each. The price of the pamphlet, 5 cents each. In connection with these activities, do I need to scroll down here? The petitioners used a phonograph on which they played a record expounding certain of their views on religion. None of them obtained a license under the ordinance before they were arrested. Each had made sales of books. There was evidence that it was their practice in making these solicitations to request a contribution of 25 cents each for the book and 5 cents each for the pamphlet, but to accept lesser sums or even to donate the volumes in case an interested person was without funds. In the present case, some donations of pamphlets were made when books were purchased. Petitioners were convicted and fined for violation of the ordinance. Their judgment of conviction was sustained by the Superior Court of Pennsylvania. Okay. Now, one more thing. What corporation are we talking about? Okay, Jeanette, right? And this is being heard in the Superior Court of Pennsylvania. Does that not sound like a conflict of interest? Conflict of interest. How can the Pennsylvania employee hear an issue regarding Jeanette's employee? And what else is wrong with this? Chances are, if you're in the Superior Court of Pennsylvania, you got the defendant and who else? Who's bringing the charges? Who's making the claim? Right. But who's what do they call a person that's going to be speaking on behalf of Jeanette? And who does the prosecutor work for? What's the name of the court? Pennsylvania. That sounds like somebody is getting a bribe, right? Because that means that this employee of Pennsylvania got to be getting paid to hear a case regarding Jeanette, which is a municipal corporation, right? That sounds like somebody's getting a bribe, right? And what else? Does this person, we got the prosecutor, right? Was the prosecutor there? Does the prosecutor have first-hand knowledge? So automatically that makes everything she says null and void. Why? Hearsay. Hearsay. What does that say? Pacalera? You're going to have to bring that to me. You're going to have to dig that one up. We got to read that one. I've been looking for that case law. I mean, I can defend it constitutionally, but I wouldn't do case law. Because this is a conflict of interest. And it's a setup because Pennsylvania is supposed to be a neutral party, but then they're talking about, oh, no, you got to pay this. You got to get permission from Pennsylvania is obligated. This is 1943. They're obligated to preserve the liberties of the people. But Pennsylvania is saying, oh, no, you got to give up your liberty and get permission from another corporation in order to do what you can do just by the whole basic definition of liberty. That's the conflict. It's also unconstitutional. All right, so where am I? Oh, goodness. This month is crazy. Against their contention that the ordinance deprived their judgment of conviction were sustained by the Superior Court of Pennsylvania against their contention that the ordinance deprived them of the freedom of speech, press, and religion guaranteed by the First Amendment. Petitions for leave to appeal to the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania were denied. The cases are here on petitions for writs of certiorari, which we granted along with the petitions for rehearing of Jones versus Opelika and its companion case. Thank you. The next phrase is real interesting. Here we go. What does that say? The First Amendment, which the 14th makes applicable to the state, declares that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press. It could hardly be denied that a tax placed specifically on the exercise of those freedoms would be unconstitutional. Yet, the license tax imposed by this ordinance is, in substance, just that. Now, I just want to say here, even though this case substantiates that states cannot convert a liberty into a privilege and apply a fee, even though it substantiates that, I would not use this because of this reason here. It says the First Amendment, which the 14th makes applicable. Who is the 14th Amendment making the First Amendment applicable to? Because as I know it, the 14th Amendment applies to corporations. So who does the 14th Amendment secure religious First Amendment rights to? Who? Is that not unconstitutional? That's but the question is, if you're telling me that Congress shall make no law respecting it, this is the First Amendment, all right? Now, who is this applying to? It says, I think that what is the corporation this is applying to? That was my question. All right, so we go to the next page. It says petitioners spread their interpretations of the Bible and their religious beliefs largely through the hand distribution of literature by full or part-time workers. They claim to follow the example of Paul, teaching publicly and from house to house. Date Act 2020. They take literally the mandate of the scripture, go ye into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. Mark 16:15. In doing so, they believe that they are obeying a commandment of God. Now, let me ask you this. What is unconstitutional about this? What is unconstitutional? Petitioners spread their interpretation of the Bible. Remember now, they're talking about the First Amendment, religious rights, right? Now they're talking about their interpretation of their religious freedom. That's unconstitutional. Now they're saying you need to explain to me your religious beliefs as they apply to the First Amendment. No, that's a text. That's unconstitutional. Right? You see it? They're saying, oh, so this is, they say it right there. their interpretation, basically, of their religious beliefs, didn't I say it? Of the Bible and their religious beliefs, right? Now, now, either they ask for further explanation of what's your religion, or these people volunteered it, which removes them from the protection of the First Amendment. Because the First Amendment says that once you say this is in harmony with my religion, you're supposed to shut up. Shut up. What they did, either they did it or they coached them into, but either way, they moved off of the protection of the First Amendment once they started getting into Acts 20, verse 20, chapter 20, verse 20, and because they're saying, right, exactly, which means you're trying to justify your religion, which is unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional, right? Let me hear you misuse. Yeah. No, that doesn't fall into the First Amendment. Exactly, that was a religious test. Exactly. Well, but hey, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So when the prosecutor steps to you and starts asking that, you're supposed to say, now you know that it's unconstitutional for you to even ask me that, right? Now I'm going to have to sue you. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. I mean, you don't have to. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. All right. So, come on. I gotta read this. We got like 20 more minutes. I want to get down to this part because this right here is like, they throw in the bathtub and the baby and everything in on this one. Where did I stop? Thank you. The hand distribution of religious tracts is an age-old form of missionary evangelism as old as the history of printing records. It has been a potent force in various religious movements down through the years. This form of evangelism is utilized today on a large scale by various religious sects whose co-porteurs carry the gospel to thousands upon thousands of homes and seek through personal visitations to win adherents to their faith. It is more than preaching. It is more than, did I need to go down? It is more than distribution of religious literature. It is a combination of both. Its purpose is an evangelical as the revival medium. This form of religious activity occupies the same higher state under the First Amendment as do worship in the churches and preaching from the pulpit. It has the same claim to protect as the more orthodox and conventional exercises of religion. It also has the same claim as others to the guarantees of freedom of speech and freedom of the press. This is them further violating their religious rights, is what it is. So, the integrity of this conduct or behavior as a religious practice has not been challenged, nor do we have presented any question as to the sincerity of the petitioners and their religious beliefs and practices. More evidence of First Amendment violations, right? But now they're saying we don't know if they're sincere in their religious beliefs. Oh, so that's a test, another test. However misguided they may be, they may be thought to be. Oh, so now we're assuming that their religious belief is misguided. Moreover, this is where it really gets crazy. This is what this next piece is going to really trip you out. Moreover, we do not intimate or suggest in respecting their sincerity that any conduct can be made a religious right and by the zeal of the practitioners swept into the First Amendment Reynolds versus United States, and Davis versus Beacon denied any such claim to the practice of polygamy and bigamy. I'm like, what? What does that have to do with anything? I'm like, what? Is this throwing the bathtub, the baby, the hot water, the fried chicken, everything? They throw everything. I'm like, what are we talking about here? So now they're trying to say, people who do polygamy and bigamy as a religious preference, that's what? And you're throwing case laws in to substantiate this? That's crazy. It's unconstitutional because now what you're doing is you're saying, I have to approve your religious conviction before it gains protection by the First Amendment. And I'm going to throw in a case about polygamy and bigotry to dismiss it all. When I saw that, I was like, you know what? I was like, this case has absolutely nothing to do with the subject at hand. What was the purpose? Except to discredit the whole, it's just apples and oranges. It doesn't matter what they say because apparently somebody don't know something. But the case still does continue because I don't want to go over. I know we always do. The case is interesting because even though it's convoluted, it still substantiates that states cannot convert liberty into a privilege and apply your fee. Now, one of the things that I have experienced myself is I have gone into state and federal court, right? Now, let me tell you what the attorneys will do. They will, like this case, Murdoch versus Pennsylvania, it may or may not have been overturned with a future case. We don't know. Now, what I learned is that these cases, they're interesting and we need to read them because the analysis of it is going to strengthen your ability to look at anything and immediately see if it's a bunch of trash. And let's not put our energy into it, right? But what I learned is that stick with the Constitution. Because you might use Murdoch versus Pennsylvania, and then somebody else will read it, an attorney, and then he'll start talking about polygamy and bigotry. That's not the issue at hand, right? And this is what I experienced. Like, I'll put a case law on the table, they put a case law on the table. I'll put a case law to meet their case law, they put a case law to meet, and we went back and forth like that until I said, okay, forget about it. The 9th and the 10th Amendment secures my right to travel. Forget about it. Beat that. Come with it. But what I learned, I had to go through that exercise. Because let me tell you, they will try to wear you out. Because they'll put all these case laws, and now you got to go look up these case laws, and you might not be able to get at them quick enough to rebut. So just stick with the Constitution. The 9th and the 10th Bill of Rights affirms my right to travel. Why? Because it says if it ain't in here, it's reserved to the states and the people respectively. Now, the states, those are the people who choose to be members of the state. Those are not Moors. Those are modern Europeans. Modern Europeans have the right to choose to be a member of the state or not, and they're still protected. And then it says people. Those are people who are not members of the state at all. So the Constitution is for everybody on American soil. If you step foot on this American soil, you are protected by the American Constitution. And that's why they was trying to do this extraordinary conditions. There was a movie about it that came on a couple years ago where my European daughter was married to a so-called Iranian or Iraqi or Afghanistani person. And he went home, and on his way back, they snatched him as a possible terrorist. The terrorist snatched a person as a possible terrorist. And they used the whole extraordinary, I think it's called extraordinary conditions, and they moved him off American soil, because if you're on American soil, you protect the Constitution. So they moved him off American soil so they can beat him up, to get him to confess to something he had no knowledge of. And his non-European wife kicked butt to find him and bring him home so he could tell his story. But people be like, oh, the Constitution is suspended. Well, if the Constitution is suspended, you need to check into the extraordinary conditions, because that is used to move people off American soil so they presumably do not have the protection of the Constitution. Does it work? No. Guess why it doesn't work? Because there's case law, and this is fact. You don't even need the case law. It's in the Constitution. It says the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, right? Of the land. That's clear, because under the water is land, right? So when it says the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, they're talking about the entire planet Earth. It doesn't matter where you are protected by the Constitution as long as you don't join yourself to a corporation. So now you got to reevaluate being a stateless person, right? Because if you are a stateless person, now they can claim you. Now, being a stateless person doesn't mean you don't have a nationality. It means that you do not have an allegiance to any state. That's it. So, people be getting all twisted up. Oh, I'm not a stateless person. Do you have a nationality? Because we don't care. Because, see, stateless person is just another decoy. There's I'm not a stateless person. Do you have a nationality? No, but I am a stateless person. Well, you might be if you don't have a nationality. Because, see, it's all about allegiance. It's all about who do you pledge your allegiance to. And don't do it haphazardly. Like they got these children in the school pledging allegiance to the United States of America, and they're Moor. Can't happen. Can't happen. I was surprised. My daughter said, yeah, she got to school late and couldn't say the Pledge of Allegiance. I was like, oh, they still say that? Yeah. And they told me, oh, yeah, we had to say it when we was in school too. And I was like, have you ever listened to the Pledge of Allegiance? You can't pledge allegiance to the United States of America. You're not. You can never be a member of the United States of America. So you can't pledge allegiance to it. But you see how they're conditioning the children? Because those institutions were established for modern Europeans and their children who must pledge allegiance to the United States of America. So that's telling you, our children ain't got no business in there pledging allegiance to the USA. And you're not even a member. So why are you pledging allegiance to something that gives you zero benefit? Nothing. Then you're not a United States of America. You're not a citizen. Here's the other thing. They say, a lot of their papers say, are you a U.S. citizen? But the passport says that your nationality is USA. Well, how come it doesn't say you're a citizen of the U.S.A.? Well, I know that, but I'm just saying, the paperwork says, are you a U.S. citizen? Most people will say, yes. But then the passport says that your nationality is USA. How can your nationality, this is how you know that the passport is not for people. Because basically it's saying when the ships used to move back and forth, it was saying what corporation owns you. If you're lost, who do we return you back to? When we talk about ships. That's why, and I know people probably haven't done this. If you go into the State Secretary of State, right? And I did this a couple years ago. And you put in any local company or like, because they got to be registered to do business here, right? Pick a company, any company, right? Where's Walmart? Where's their headquarters? Is it like Utah or Wyoming or something like that. Is it Utah? Nah. Oh, y'all ain't got no. There's no Walmarts around here. New York. Oh, really? All right. So if you go into the New York Secretary of State and you put in Walmart and you look through it, it's going to say nationality, foreign, because their headquarters is in Utah. Now, if you're in Utah and you Google their secretary, if you go and you Google the Walmart under the state of Utah, it'll say nationality, domestic. 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment. And the thing about it is, everybody's like, I'm not a 14th Amendment citizen, right? But if you read the 14th Amendment and what it is trying to do, it is documented, verifiable evidence of truth. Because the purpose of the Constitution was to secure the liberty of the people. Secure the liberties of the people. That means that your liberties are based on what you got from God. Right? Where the tax corporations coming from that they would have liberty? But they allege to have it based on the 14th Amendment, which says that they're trying to make a fiction equal with liberty rights as a flesh and blood human being. That's treason. Read the definition. That's treason. Has anybody ever put in a suit regarding the 14th Amendment? No. Instead, people run up into municipal venues talking about, I'm not a 14th Amendment citizen. Who said you was? But I can tell you, in one of the cases that I have put in regarding the municipal corporation, the administrative judge tried to throw the 14th Amendment into her, conclusion. Right? Oh, no, but here's the thing. I never listed the municipal corporation as a party. So who is the corporation that the 14th Amendment is applying to? And she put her foot in it. And I ain't mad at her, because that's a future issue that I'll be discussing. But sometimes people, and they ended up dismissing my case. Now, let me tell you what's great about that is because they dismissed the case alleging that the parties had not been served. I got a letter from the United States Postmaster affirming that all parties were served. She still dismissed the case. I was like, oh, baby, you just lost your job. you going to table with the feds? So-called feds? Right? Oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. Now, some people will be like, oh, my God, they dismissed my case. I did that the first time that happened to me. I was like that. And then I calmed down. It took me a while. I calmed down, and I read it again, and I realized they was trying to say some things in there, and I got it. And that's all you need to know. Well, it doesn't matter if it's state or federal, because my federal case was dismissed. But what they tell you as their rationale is more priceless than a win. Because see, everybody's looking for, well, they don't have a license, this and that, and so we're going to dismiss it. But in their rationale, they be trying to talk to you, because it's like, come on now, they're the same family. You really think that they're going to put a sledgehammer down? I mean, they do. In cases where they were so obviously too far to the left. They do. if you come correct. But this ain't, I'm not, look, they gave me what I wanted. Is it over? No. But it was an exercise. Because, see, you don't know something until you make a move. And a lot of times, they just waiting to see if you're going to make a move. Because I'm going to tell you, once you put something on the national, once you put in something on the national level, everybody sees it. Everybody sees it. But as long as you stay having these love letters back and forth between municipal employees, it'll be between you and the municipal employee, and nobody sees it. Yeah, you might see various agencies, but you can't notify as many people individually as you can when you make a national claim. And you're never making a national claim when you're talking with municipal employees. That's like I'm just talking in my backyard. We just in the kitchen, sitting down talking. It's going to stay in the kitchen. It's never going to move outside on the street, around the block, from here to the moon. It's never going to move. It's going to be in the kitchen, you and them having a discussion, just sitting off and talking. Nobody else is going to know about it. But this is all about strategy. And the prophet said, if I can just get you to think, I'm going to say it for him. If y'all would start thinking, y'all would not be walking around here acting scared. Not saying y'all, because we're around the world. And these people, they can pick up on things. If you really study, you would have something to think about, and you start thinking and don't stop and just study, because I'm going to tell you, once you start studying, you're going to go here, and then that's going to take you there, and then that's going to take you there, and before you know it, the sun is going to be up, and the birds are going to be chirping, and you have not gone to sleep. And you pissed because you got to stop to go to work. And now you're at work, because I said this, you're at work and your mind is on what you just read, and you're just on automatic pilot, and you floor it all the way home to get back in front of the book. You ain't even tired. You ain't even tired, and you're doing another night of no sleep because you're sitting there, you're saying, I'm going to go to sleep in an hour. Let me get to this next chapter. When I need to jot this down, and then you jot it down, and a new thought comes up, and let me go listen to stuff. I'm going to go to sleep after this. And before you know it, the sun is up, the birds are chirping, and this is 48 hours, no sleep, and you still ain't tired. That's study. That's when it's gotten a hold of you. See, when it gets a hold of you, it's a wrap. Because can't nobody stop you from finding the answers. And the more you find, the more you're going to be like, oh, I got this. Oh, boy, I got this. Your mind starts going, you start planning, I got to write something. And you start writing, before you know it, you might have wrote a book. Because that's what happened to me. I was writing and ended up writing a book. That's how prophecy books came into being. I kept digging it every night. I was like, I'm going to sleep any minute now. And I called Roz and I said, look, I think I got a book coming. And she was like, really? Send it to me. And I was like, okay. And I kept going. And all I was doing was looking for information for me. And then I said, I can't have just this to me. I got to let other people know about it, because this was hard finding all this information. So I want to share it with everybody. So then we got the book. Roz did her magic with her graphics, and the book got fatter and fatter and fatter, and was like, okay, we're gonna make it available next week. And then I found more information. No, you can't make it available next week because I done found some more information that got to go in the book. And I know exactly where it got to go because I wrote it and I know exactly where it's needed. And so I put it in and I said, okay, we can go to print. No, we can't go to print. And we was like that for like 3-4 weeks. I said, just send it to print. If there's more information, we'll do a part 2. And it all came out of studying. There's so much information out there. The prophet said, study, 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 because if I could just get you to thinking, you will free yourself. Man, you'll be walking. Let me tell you, whenever I get new information and whenever I get a little afraid, I start studying. And when I build myself back up, I'll be walking on cloud. I'll be outside like, try me today. Try me today. You don't want to try me today. Oh, I'm feeling real powerful. Oh, I feel like I be in my conveyance. You know, the trees be blowing red. I feel like we just humming. We ain't even touching the ground. And then my car hiccups and it brings me back down to earth. but I'm like, okay, I needed to come down because I was floating too much. But when you start studying, I keep telling people, you got to study because studying is going to free you of fear. Do not be embarrassed to acknowledge that you are afraid. Just don't let it trap you from moving forward, because it will. That fear will paralyze you. You will be too terrified to move. You're going to have to do something. And if the something entails, like I read, I got videos in my car. I got a video that's a 2 DVD. I ain't gotten to the second DVD because the first one just plays over and over and over and over. And when I'm feeling afraid and I got to travel someplace, I put that video in and I start repeating it word for word. I be going along as though I am doing the presentation until it gets me from A to B, and then it be saying keywords and visualize where you want to be. And I'm pulling into the driveway, and I'm safe, and I'm all right. And that's all I was telling myself. And I see it, and I don't deviate from nothing else. And then before you know it, I'm pulling into the driveway, and I'm safe, and I'm like, thank you, Jesus. You've got to know Jesus is justice. Thank you. Thank you. We'll do this again tomorrow. Well, that's what study will get you. Islam? Get rid of it. Oh, I got something for you. Let me tell you. No, you can say that, but I want to, because she told you about fear. I'm hoping. Let me see. No, let me see. I want to. I'm trying. Oh, please. Here we go. Now, this was so powerful for me. When the movie came out, I transcribed it and kept it on my phone because it's very, very real. From what's that movie with Will Smith? That's what this is. Yeah, that's what that's it. When I saw that movie with Will Smith, I think it was called After Earth, and the son went through it was really a rite of passage because he had to overcome his fear. And many of us, we are just like that young boy. We are afraid. Our fear is controlling us. And whatever he had to do, he got over that fear. And this is what Will Smith's character said in the movie. I don't know if y'all, it just grabbed me. so bad that it's part of my phone. It's 3 phones later, and it's still part of my phone. So I'm going to read it. It says, fear is not real. The only place fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that at present and may not ever exist. That is near insanity. Fear is a choice. And then I add this part. We are all telling ourselves a story. Today, I am telling mine. You mean you. Oh, here we go. Well, I'm thinking it might not be happening. Oh, let me see if I can open another window. You know. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. Is your phone on mute? Yeah, I got the slow hot spot. Yeah. What? Oh, no, you're not going to be able to call in because it's after. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that.